It would be remiss not to bring up, as every single Mariner fan and I'm sure baseball fan remembers. I know you do. 4 home runs in one game, man.
Yeah,
Almost
yeah,
almost five. And
yeah,
walk us through that. I mean, that's the most legendary performance you could probably put up in one game as a hitter.
yeah. It was. I had some really good games in Seattle, and that was probably you know outstaged everything. For the fact that I was I mean at the time there's only 12 players in the history of the game to ever do this, and for me to come along, and then the last time it had happened, I think it was like in 1992 maybe with Mark Whitten in the National League. And there was this thing with me and every time I played in Chicago that I was deemed and I was going to be actually forced myself to be locked in to do as much damage as I possibly could, because that trade was kind of a crazy scenario trade and how I got traded and everything else. But I understood it being traded, but I would translate it, and me being in winter ball after they sent me to winter ball, and I find out with a ticker on TV on an off day while I was folding my clothes up, and no one from the White Sox called me, and I took on that energy for a long time to make sure I did as much damage as I possibly could against those guys. And that day, um, going into I think the last game of the series, we had already had a pretty good series there already, um, and going into that last day, um, me and Booney got flip flop in the lineup because we were kind of struggling at the end of April, so to speak, and Lou doing Lou things kind of flip flopped us, and Booney was a little bit pissed off, that he had to hit second and I hit third or whatever, and we had a couple little side bets, where he's like, yeah, you drive in this how many runs and you get this many hits and you get a homer. We had like this little scale or whatever it was, and man, we when he hit the homer, I was more pissed off that he hit the homer because I had to pay him money opposed to us getting a run scored that day. And on top of that, my buddy James Baldwin, who I played with, who I stayed with, grew up with in the White Sox organization, was pitching that day too. So it was extra special for me to be able to play center field for him and to be able to hit the 4 home runs. And I would have never thought, man, I don't think I hit 4 home runs in a row in batting practice. Um, so to be able to get the ball up in the air 4 times, it was special. The ball felt like it was stopping. My quote was when they asked me, it felt like the day MJ hit those 6 threes against Portland, and he just shrugged his shoulders. I didn't know, guys were just they were standing where they were standing away from me in the dugout, like I was like when a pitcher throws a no hitter, and I was all jovial and happy and everything else, and we scored 10 runs in the first inning. I got hit 2 homers in the first inning. And it's already a good day after that. They were solo shots because Boone was cleaning everything up. And man, it was just one of those days where when I stepped in the box, it just felt like everything stopped. And I was able to put a good swing on it. And it was extra special because it was in Chicago. But the one thing that nobody never remembers about that day is I robbed a grand slam from Maglio Ordonez.
I didn't know
So
that.
nobody, yeah, no,
Oh,
the 4 homers
what?
was just, yeah, I
Holy
robbed a
cow.
grand slam that day also. So,
That's got to be one of
it's
the best
just,
days in baseball history. I mean, a player to
man,
you save 4 runs and then
nobody,
you, yeah.
yet nobody never speaks of that. Like nobody never talks about that. They only talk about the 4 home runs. I said, man, I probably had one of the best days ever, offensive and defensive, because I don't think nobody's hit 4 homers and robbed a grand slam.
No, for sure. No.
So so it was just good. And I got hit. All those guys over there, I knew anyway. I felt bad for Jim Parquet because he had to take the blunt of all that. And me and Parquet were teammates in '97, and I don't think he ever recovered from that particular day. But because I hit 3 off of him, but the ball I just saw the ball out of his hand so well, man, and that was a special, special day in Chicago. Going into the beginning of the month of May, and then going into New York after we just, I knew we knew going into New York we was going to be playing some good baseball, and I felt very good about myself going into that day. But man, I didn't get no sleep that day because it was getaway day. I had the long press conference meeting after the game was over with. And when I got to New York, I didn't sleep. I mean, I was watching myself eating ice cream, got like late night room service, watching myself on TV, really like digging myself. And try to duplicate it that next day, and it didn't work at all.
That's not gonna work.
Well, so
but
who?
Yeah, that was it.
Who won the who? I don't know Boonie's final stat lines on that. I'm assuming you won that bet. Did he squeeze in? Did he make it close?
Yeah, we tied in ribbies, but I hit the 2 homers. I hit 2 more homers.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
so
Okay.
that was it. That was it for me. You know, and I scored the most runs.
Yeah.
So you know that was it. That last at bat, man. If it was already cold there, and you know, through the night it gets even colder in Chicago. If it wasn't got cold that night, I hit it well, but I didn't hit it like I hit all the rest of them. But I hit it good enough for it to go over the fence. But the bases were loaded, and I was just worried about getting the ribbies. I was just worried about getting a base hit and getting the ribbies. I was more pissed off that Jeff Leafer, probably 2 steps onto the one track, caught the ball, and when I keep looking at it, it was literally about fence high, you know. So it was more of a line drive. I didn't have the quote unquote today as they use it, the launch angle to be able to get it up in that sense.